Hi everybody, welcome in. Today is January 29th, 2024, and today is day 19 of our 100 Days, 100 Ways Trails Taken. Well, this is the second day of our What Brings You Here? So today's question is illness? Does illness bring you here? Is that how you came about wanting to know more or trying to understand who you are or trying to figure out what's next? So if you are having an illness or had an illness, are you still in treatment? Is this a recurrent illness? Is it something that, not chronic, because that's on the list too, so chronic, but reoccurrent, say something like, that goes away and comes back, say eczema or stomach troubles or, times when you lose your hair or something like that, like something that happens, not continuously, but every once in a while it rears its ugly head. Those are the kind of things we want to look at. Terminal, so is your illness terminal or diagnosed as terminal? Obviously, do you feel like it's terminal? That's kind of the gauge from which you launch your healing. And other. So I don't know if you've had an illness in the past and maybe it's still making you fearful, if it's making you, you're worried that it's going to come back, you're worried that it's, going to manifest in a different way. Worry and stress are just, they're the things that take life. They block our joy and make life scary, and life is supposed to be exhilarating. So let's see where we go. So when I first began this journey, it would have been, I think my journey began when I was still in treatment for breast cancer. Didn't really have a better understanding of all the things until after the reconstruction and then the breakdown of that. So then having had to have the implants removed and the poisoning that came with that and the crap that I'm still dealing with. Here we are 5 years later. So I'm no longer in treatment, but I do have some reoccurring issues, and it's learning how to manage those, the things that make, you have to be able to know what's happening. You have to be aware of what's happening before you can change it, right? So I wanted to really figure out how to do that, how to move past, how do I get past being a breast cancer patient? How do I get past, the system supports breast cancer patients and, they do everything and give you all the options and all the treatments and all the drugs and all the everything. But when it came around time with this, with the capsule rupture, it left me swinging in the breeze. There was not really any help. Basically, all they wanted to do was just give me drugs. And I just wanted to get better. I wanted to get the crap out of my system. I wanted to be able to live. I wanted to live this life while I'm here living it. I don't want to be laying in bed sick. I don't want to be worried and afraid all the time. You lose sleep, it makes you sick. Those internal chemistry of that, you don't want to sit in that soup. I didn't want to sit in that soup. So I really made an effort. I just kind of went down to nothing. I was so sick I had to carry my own legs to get upstairs. So of course there's an emergency call that goes off in my brain. Okay, this is it. So you better figure it out now. And I think I've done a pretty good job of that. I had to cut out everything out of my life, dietary wise, just to see what still was happening there. Some new sensitivities and things. that I didn't have before. And drastically losing weight, and I, for a while I was afraid, what if this happened again, before I had the implants out with the cancer? What if it comes back? What am I going to do? How am I going to deal with it? That was the thing, right? I don't want to go back. I would just want to go forward. So I had to learn how to negate the worry. I had to come to a place of understanding with the fear, anxiety, nervousness, obsessing over it, losing sleep, and the worst part, turtling, like becoming a hermit, like just exiting from life. And when you're not really sure where to go or what to do next, you just kind of close down for a little bit until you have a spark, until something says, hey, why don't you try this, or this will be good for you, or this other person did this, maybe it'll be good for you too. So I guess that's kind of what I've done. I've made the trial and error and the time spent a little shorter for everybody else. It's I want to pass that on, right? I want people to suffer less and for a shorter duration. We got to go through crap, but still, if there's ways to make it less painful and less stressful, we should be investigating that and, doing the best thing that we can for ourselves, for our health. And as soon as we do that, everything else around the outside, all the outside perimeter stuff, family and friends and job and all that stuff, it all just kind of falls into place. But we got to know what we want first. So, within my capability, I wanted to be able to respond for myself. I wanted to be able to get back in my body because I noticed traumas and dramas kept happening. And the common denominator was being disembodied, not living in my body, blocking and cutting off the things that I didn't want to feel. Basically just becoming unfeeling on the inside, but really great at putting that mask on the outside. You can do that for a while. It doesn't feel good when you're alone because you're not really that person. The place we want to get to is where we don't have to wear masks and we can just be ourselves. We don't have a label. We are just here going for it and enjoying our life. It's supposed to be joyful. We're supposed to be happy. These are our birthrights. These are things that, if you're born to privilege and healthy foods and healthy lifestyles and things like that, or raised that way, then, it seems like it should be easier, but it's not, because it doesn't have anything to do with that stuff. It has to do with how we feel about ourselves on the inside. And taking a good evaluation of that, a good inventory, can help us point the right direction that we need to go. Like it's our own internal compass, right? Being able to respond versus reacting. So, when you're triggered, you react, you don't respond. And being response able. That's like a key thing for me. If you're not response able, if you don't know how to respond, or you're just living on the reaction part, that's all you're just going to keep getting, right? It takes an awareness. It takes a little bit of practice to bring us to that. And what does that say? Oh yes, reclaiming sovereignty. So first, I think we have to put ourselves first. We have to remember that we're no good to anybody else if we don't do the stuff for ourselves first. Like they say on the plane, put on your own oxygen mask and then help other people. And that's where my direction has been, heading towards self-mastery. And the awareness is the thing that started it. And as soon as you can know, as soon as you start realizing and you start seeing it for yourself, self-mastery is not really that far behind. It's hard work. I'm not saying it's not. But to be able to move through challenges quickly and out of them quickly and minimize the effects that our body has on itself, I think is probably one of the greatest gifts I've given myself, because I don't sit there and wallow in it. The chemistry doesn't drag me down, and I can get back to happy quickly. I can, my brain's not fogged with the fear, and I can, logically think of things if I need to think things through. Or I can now feel my intuition. I feel my intuition and I don't have to think of things. Going to source, meditating, doing breath work, these things really help us just come into ourself. Leave the outside world to the outside for now. Focus on what's going on in here and what are the things that can make us help improve us. What are the things that speak to us, that resonate with us, that we're willing to try, that we're interested to try. Somebody might say, hey, go do this breath work thing, for instance. It's really great. It did a really awesome thing for me. And it just doesn't appeal to you in any way. There's other ways to do it, right? You don't have to go to a class. You can do a workshop online. There's, other modalities to try. So this is my thing. I would like to be able to, show you the things that I've used for myself and how I've got here myself, and hopefully you can do the same. Probably the thing that I really hope the most, and hope is a 4-letter word for me. My best outcome would be no more illness. And if people do get ill, that they quickly move through it, and that there are no more chronic conditions, because I believe there really is there's not any necessity for that. Our inner wellness and the way we're being in the world, that's the foundation. That's, our thoughts become things. And if we keep thinking of good things, then we get more of that. A couple things. Power of Belief, Bruce Lipton. Amazing. We have, I can't remember what the actual terminology for it is called. They're called imaginal cells. They're like stem cells. They're adult stem cells. No, that's not the right thing. Adult something cells. So they come when you sleep. That's why we heal so well when we sleep. The body releases these and they go to where they need to go and become what they need to become. So instead of having blockages and holding, our emotions and our traumas and stuff, we can figure out how to move them through, and then the new healing that can come with just even a new way of thinking. Another great one is Bessel van der Kolk, The Body Keeps Score. Just the same kind of idea as how our cells hold memory, our organs, these are the places where the energies conjunct, coalesce, like our chakras, our nerve plexuses. These are the areas that the energy tends to get stuck. Like, say, suffering a lot with I'll just use myself, from a loss of love. Before I had breast cancer, my marriage broke up, and there was a lot of other outside trauma and drama that went along with that. And because my breast cancer was not hereditary and not environmental that I could, pinpoint, I believed it was an inside job. I still think it is an inside job. We have genetics that say maybe you are prone, you could possibly have this gene turn on, but there's nothing to say that that gene has to turn on. The chemistry inside of your body is what turns it on and off. And if we can keep our thoughts free and flowing and fortunate, then so shall we be. Anyways, I didn't write down any triggers, but I think my biggest trigger from being, having an illness was having a label that went with that illness. I don't want to be that. I don't want to think about that. I don't want to, it's in the past. I'm done with it. I fell down the stairs and had to have major surgery on my arm one time. I'm not that either. Right? I've had quite a few concussions. Maybe it makes me a little bit dopey sometimes, but, in general, I'm not that either. So we are who we want to be, and we are how we see ourselves. And I hope we can see ourselves in the best light with the most love, because that's what we deserve. So love yourself first. Anyways, I hope you have a really great day, and I will see you tomorrow for day 20 of 100. Until then, be well.